Hello there, folks. Welcome back. We are now ready for our next run, which is going to be the House of the Dead 3, featuring the BPG13 Viper. Please take it away. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. Viper, it's over to you.
Okay, hello again. You just saw me like 5 minutes ago, but yes, hello, I'm back for round 2. This time a completely different kettle of fish. We're not doing racing anymore. We're killing zombies very, very fast, or at least trying to. So welcome to the House of the Dead 3. I'm pretty sure everybody and the mum has heard about this game by now because of the fact that it's been about, let's see, 19 years since it came out, I think it was. Because it was around 2002 when it released for the original Xbox. I believe the PC port came out around the same time, maybe a bit earlier or later, I don't know. And obviously they had the arcade cabinets with those famous shotguns which they use in the game. So this is the beat the game category. It's very easy, so we have maximum amount of lives, credits, blood colour will be red, and obviously that doesn't really matter. So we're going to be doing this 6 stages altogether. You have a prologue, 4 stages, and something called Wheel of Fate, which is the final stage. I'll give you when time is, so time will actually be as soon as I click on survival mode. So if we are ready on time, I'll give you a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Reminiscence. I nearly missed it. Straight into the action. So, to kind of give a bit of aspect about what's going on right now, apart from us killing zombies. Yep.
I accidentally transitioned instead of starting the timer.
You want me to start again? I can do.
So.
And features a range of human reactions, such as laughing at your boss's terrible jokes, reacting to being told you're working all weekend, and much more. BRB Bot, just the latest way Charmin is innovating how you enjoy the go.
Sorry, guys.
So do you want me to go back to menu and start again, or?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. I can do that. Take 2. I can do that. Okay, so I presume we're still live, aren't we? Everyone can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right, so I'll just quickly revamp everything I just did. Like, pretend nothing happened. Like, you saw nothing. Okay, so, hello, I'm back again. You saw me 5 minutes ago. I'm the thebpg13, also known as Viper to my regular viewers. This is the House of Dead 3. If you haven't heard of this game, what are you doing? And you've probably been living under a rock. This is the beat the game category. It's very easy. On very easy difficulty, should I say. And it should make it very easy. Time is going to be when I start, when I click the survival mode. I'll explain a bit more about the run as I get into it, or at least I will try my best to do that. So if we are ready on the timer, on that side of things, I will give you a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck.
Okay, so chapter 0, Reminiscence. How do I kind of put this? How does the story start? Well, basically, this is set in the year 2019. Not the actual 2019, a different one, don't worry. It's never happened, there isn't actually zombies walking about. Or at least not to my knowledge, anyway. That's kind of scary when you think about it. But anyway, so, House of Dead 3, the third game in the House of Dead series. Everybody probably knows about this game because, well, let's be honest, you probably spent more than a few bucks at the arcade when you been playing this. So this was one of those games. It was a rail shooter where, it's under the genre of rail shooter. So basically, you have no control of your character moving. Your character will move automatically, and all you've got to do is just shoot the enemies on screen. That's pretty much how it works. So, to kind of introduce the story a little bit, so this is set 20 years after the first game, so there was an evil bloke to kind of bring you up to scratch on the House of Dead series in like 10 seconds. So there was a guy called Dr. Curian. He created a load of monsters, these mutated monsters at his mansion. A guy called Special Agent Rogan and G ended up, they both ended up turning around and was like, right, you know, we need to stop Curian, he's evil, and so on and so on. Anyway, they managed to stop Curian, supposedly, although he got killed by his own creation. But that's for those that are interested. I'd highly recommend playing the first game. Anyway, not long after Dr. Curian's monsters were supposedly put a stop to, we had the unfortunate circumstances of, I think it was a outbreak in Europe, which unfortunately caused a huge problem. That huge problem being more zombies appeared, and yeah, European towns got overrun, and unfortunately that led to an absolute disaster. So these zombies ain't going down so easy this time, huh? Anyway, so it's like, well, what do you mean? You know, zombies had started going on around the city. So it turns out that one of the zombies had actually managed to escape, or presumed so anyway. I presume that's how it goes. And because the zombies escaped, obviously it caused an absolute panic. You know, city started to be overrun by these monsters. And before you know it, well, to put it blunt, wasn't great. Bad stuff happened, and yeah, zombie infestation, woo! Anyway, so, to put it bluntly, a guy called Thomas Rogan has gone looking for Dr. Rogan's lab. Dr. Curian's lab. Now, he apparently found it. However, because of the fact that he went missing, his daughter, Lisa Rogan, who is the character we're playing as, although I believe it's more like, what's he called? I'm trying to think of his name now. Who is it? G. Agent G. So he was in the first game, and yeah, he's a nice fellow. This Agent G doesn't really show much emotion. But what is there to say about Agent G? Well, for a guy that doesn't really say a lot, he likes to kill zombies, or in his case, it's probably just a bunch of criminals. Although these criminals want to eat you, so I don't think they're the kind of criminals he had on his list. Also, that was close. He didn't manage to kill me. So, because of this, because of what's been going on, and obviously Thomas Rogan's gone missing, and Lisa Rogan's gone finding him. Lisa Rogan's gone finding him with Agent G. It's actually meant a couple of things. Nice. We got through the first stage pretty unscathed. That was pretty good. You also get a results screen at the end of every single level, and if you play well enough, you get a bonus life, or bonus live, should I say. Now here's where the trick comes in. I say trick. Here's where the difference for the game comes in. So there's 3 floors that you can pick, and you'll actually take different routes depending on which order you actually pick the levels in. So for example, you can pick the bio lab as the first level, and then pick this floor as a different level. However, I believe the order that we're taking these levels in is actually the fastest. So we're obviously going to see a lot of different enemies through this. You'll actually see what could only be described as Arnold Schwarzenegger clones. Sorry. Obviously, you've got bats. You've got these like guys that think they're Hong Kong Phooey. And you also notice as well that we have, well, oh god, no, I clicked out the window then, that was not what I wanted to do. We have a few individual characters. We've obviously got bats, we've got these typical zombies. Also, I don't know how the hell he hurt me, but there you go. The Arnold Schwarzenegger clones. We've also got what can only be put as like Nemesis from the Resident Evil games. I think that's what I call them. You can call them not floor monsters, roof monsters, but honestly, yeah, they're not needed. So you have these sequences in this game where you can earn extra life, as you can already tell. I'm trying to kind of explain as I go, so do forgive me if I miss a few things. But yeah, you obviously have these like save your partner sort of situations. If you save your partner, like as in they don't get hurt, they don't get injured, you can actually gain extra life, as you've already seen me do a couple of times. Yeah, these guys that should have stayed in the kitchen. Also, here's Arnie again. You can actually kill these guys pretty fast. If you know where they're coming from, you're in luck. Also, if I'm not mistaken, more bats. There we go. So obviously, these games are all about how fast can you kill the zombies. For speedrun wise anyway, they're all set in game time. So, for example, if I ended up getting killed in one of these, then obviously I'd use a life and things like that. But in most cases, yeah, you don't have to really worry. Like I said, not much concern. Also, no zombies. Now there's zombies. They just spawn out of thin air in this game. You do have to be careful, very careful. I do want to try and make sure that I get... Oh god, let's see if I can get these guys. Ideally... I do apologise if I don't end up saying much after this run, because it's more concentrated focused, but the game's actually timed in game time. So, RTA wise, it's around, I want to say around 25 minutes or so. 25 to 30 minutes, maybe a bit faster if you know what you're doing. And obviously how fast you can kill the zombies. But it's all based on in-game time. Currently the record in-game time is, I think it's 16:51. Also, that was an early second cycle. I've never actually got the second. Say that particular cycle. He's never really given it before. So when he's hanging on the wall like this, it's like a I can speak today. It's like a massive sloth thing. What I'm trying to kill here. So you've heard of how sloths are dead lazy and everything. Yeah, this one ain't lazy. In fact, he's far from it. This is... Yeah, you remember Sid the Sloth from Ice Age? This is him now. Feel old yet? I'm a bit gutted I didn't manage to get him, man. It's a shame. Never mind. So this is actually the hardest cycle here. So you have to be very careful. I might lose a couple of lives to the... What's he called? Death or something. Can't remember this thing's name. I probably will lose a couple of lives to him here, but that's fine. But this is the kind of game, like I said before, you probably spend a fair few bucks on it, and by default the game would probably be put to either normal, hard, or very hard difficulty, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. So obviously the game would be very, very difficult. As far as optimization goes, I think it's probably, I don't know, very optimized. I'm not quite sure. So you can actually kill this thing. There you go. Just like that. And unfortunately he's going to whack a ball on the way down. There we go. That's stage 2 done and dusted. I actually got an S rank too, nice. So I actually get 2 of my extra lives back for that, which is nice. Also, you remember the guy that we dealt with in the first chapter? At the end of the first chapter? Well, guess what? He makes a return. For some silly reason, they decided to reuse the main boss from the first game. From the first level in this one. So if you wanted to, by the way, this is something that's worth noting. When you start this game from the get-go, when you comes to doing the 3 stages at the beginning, what you can actually do is you can actually defeat this boss straight away. So you could obviously get him out of the way if you wanted to. And luckily, he's not going to hit me with that massive club of his, and I'm not going to let him. Also, you may notice as well, a lot of these a lot of the zombies are actually reused from previous House of Deads. And one other thing to note as well are these guys. Now, I believe these are also in... I think they're in House of Dead 2, I'm not quite sure if they were though. But these guys on the wall are actually reused in House of Dead 4. Like, similar sort of characters. They're not using what they normally use. But it seems like there's always some guy there where you've obviously got to make sure you're quick at killing these guys. Again, it's all about speed and accuracy. if you know where to shoot, as soon as they land, you can kill them before they even come on. Well, literally within them coming on screen after 2 seconds. But yeah, Tim, have you got any memories of this game in particular?
No, actually, I've never actually played any of these games. But I have to say, I was never really into shooting games in the arcade, to be perfectly honest with you. But this is very different. Enjoying it. Good.
It's one of them games that, like I said, these were the sort of games that I'm pretty sure most will agree, they were built to take your money. You know, you have them games where you put in 20p, or I say 20p, I don't know what kind of games I'm thinking of, but you know, like, you put in £1 or $1 and you get like 2 credits, but the thing is, because the game's difficulty was so difficult, you'd obviously have money would be wasted pretty quickly. So you never know. Also, I should mention, this is, like I said before, this is the PC version. So obviously I'm shooting with a mouse, not a keyboard, or, sorry, a controller, should I say. But this game is actually a lot more difficult. If you play it on the Xbox, you obviously play with a controller. But the problem is unlike on the Xbox, me playing with the keyboard is actually quite easy for me to reload. On the Xbox version, you obviously need to make sure you're constantly able to reload, like all the time, and I mean all the time. It's pretty ridiculous. So you'd have to like spam the right trigger, I think it is. Also, Chainsaw Guy. Let's say Chainsaw Guy. I always think it's the chainsaw, but it's not. So, like I said before, half of the zombies have been used from other games. Sorry, previous House of Dead titles. Some of these will be done in a different form. So, for example, the guy that you just saw. Yeah, the guy you saw that has the angle grinder thing, he's essentially what I would call the alternative to a chainsaw guy. So obviously in House of Dead you obviously have these chainsaw guys. This guy here, him. And he has his friend. Or should that be a twin brother? Either way, they're dead. Also, he just did a Houdini act, he's gone. The one question I always have about this is, well, after that scene has been shot, where does he disappear to? The guy can't just get up and leave. I mean, we're talking like, I don't know, a 10-foot guy, if that. I don't know how big the guy is. Maybe 15 foot? There's no way a 15-foot bloke just disappears like it's nothing. Also, neat little Easter egg there. You have the Magician from the first game as a bonus. For those that don't know about the Magician, would highly recommend playing the first game. Oh yeah, there's one last thing I've not mentioned yet. So at the start of this game, you didn't see it because I skipped the cutscene, but when Thomas Rogan was going, when Thomas Rogan was going through to find Dr. Curran's, you know, to find his lab, one thing he'd found was, well, seriously, on his adventures, one of his apprentices had unfortunately bit the bullet. Also, he's gonna, don't you dare swing the axe, lad. Brought down by 2 shotguns. You gotta love it. Also, thankfully, we get an extra life through that, which is nice. Ideally, you want to obviously keep your You want to obviously keep your health up as much as possible and make sure that they don't hit you as much. I think this goes for a lot of rail shooters. It's like, the more you have, the worse it gets. I don't know. That sort of thing. Also, so this is the last of the main chapters of the game. And this is the L3 Biolab. So we have people which can only be described as, well, something out of an Alien movie. Now we're getting into the alien part of it. It's probably worth mentioning as well. So the guys with the tentacles, right? I don't know why. Don't ask me, but I always feel like the characters that have the arms, these guys here, I always think they either remind me of two things. Either Squidward from SpongeBob, just an evil version of Squidward, or a character from Monsters Inc., which I don't know the name of the guy or who it is. I honestly have no idea. For the life of me, I just can't remember the name. But basically, there's a character in one particular scene where they're trying to scare the kids, which I believe is the moral of that film, anyway. And unfortunately, the one thing that happens is they just turn around. I just remember him like going like that, and it's kind of the same thing. Also, if you're not a fan of bugs, then you might be after this game. So them particular coins, they're obviously there for score purposes, but if you want, you can obviously do whatever you like, if you want to. So you obviously want to kill these guys as fast as possible so that you obviously have G escape. Also, this is the only, I say the only, this level and the last stage are the only one where there's actually two parts. So this is part one. You have part one and then there's a boss. Now normally these, obviously, the boss comes at the end of the level. Not in this level, we don't. Oh, sorry, I wasn't quite fast enough. So this one is a bit of a cheeky bugger because it obviously has several life bars, but if you shoot it, if you're lucky, anyway, you can kill it as it gets to you. Your best bet with that one is to try and kill it when it comes right at you. So these face things here, like I said, you want to make sure you kill this thing as fast as possible. That's basically open for attack. Oh, close. So you can actually still shoot it if you want. Oh. So that particular face, this phase, should I say, you can actually still shoot it, which is quite cool. So we've killed the main boss of the level. However, don't think that's the end of it, because it ain't. It's not the end of it, far from it actually. So that was nice. I think there's an extra life to be gained, eh? Yes, there is. Nice. The more lives I have for this, for the ending, by the way, the better. I don't think that should come as any surprise because the last boss, just like in any game, will obviously kick the absolute living daylights out of you and will really try to kill you. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, it will literally try to kill you. Also, nice. Get 2 bonus lives through that, which is nice. Very nice. If I'm lucky, we might be able to get through this on 1 single credit. Also, we have the Wheel of Fate. Now, it turns out, I'll kind of break the news to you as we get the end. But this is actually the final stage in the game. So basically, we've now got to find Lisa's dad. We've now got to the level where Lisa's dad is, well, was last seen alive, supposedly. That was the one thing I was trying to mention before. So, along the way, Rogan lost a ally, okay? So, Logan has had allies with him when he came up to try and stop whatever Dr. Curien had planned. However, unfortunately, this led to what can only be described as an absolute complete accident. Well, a bit of a pain of an accident, to be honest. And one of his guys unfortunately died, which is a shame, but you know, kind of rip that guy, I guess. So we found out that Thomas Rogan, Lisa's dad, is alive, and the guy that we're now playing as, well, should I say, the guys that you just saw, that was quite close, is Dr. Curran's son, called Daniel Curran. And remember how I mentioned before about how Rogan lost one of his allies? Yeah, this is now him. He's now been revived. I say revived, he's now been resurrected. That's the word I was looking for. He's finally gonna die eventually. Oh, blimey. That's okay just to kill him. Crikey. So you may remember that we had the start of the game, we have obviously several things that could go wrong. Did go wrong. And at that moment, everything that did go wrong has. So basically we're redoing the entire first stage, but things are obviously a little different. What we're going to do is we're going to take on something called the Wheel of Fate, which Daniel Curran has mentioned to us and gone, yeah, so apparently there's this thing called the Wheel of Fate, and it's absolutely evil. And now we get this cutscene, which actually gives me a quick time to have a quick breather. So this is Dr. Curran from the first game. He's been resurrected in what could only be described as Silver Surfer mode. So for those that watch the Fantastic Four or have seen the films, you may know about a guy called the Silver Surfer. For some weird reason, this always reminds me of him because, well, he's silver. So this is the final boss fight. And what we want to do is that circle on his chest. Yep, we've got to shoot it. Unfortunately, he doesn't make that easy for us. What we got to do is... there we go. Just got to make sure that I kill him. If I can shoot him, that'd be nice. Nice, got him. So he has several phases, and apparently these are completely randomized. So after a certain point, what's going to happen is Dr. Curran, as he's known, yeah, Dr. Curran is going to fire these electric things at us. What we need to do is kill him. Hoping, there we go. So once he gets to a low enough life on the health bar at the top, he's actually going to resurrect himself, and what we're going to need to do is make sure that we kill him straight away. Nice. Okay, I got him. Nice, I got him. So he has several phases which you can go through, as I said. So I want to make sure that we get him. Also, I'll let you know, but time's going to become up in around, I don't know, maybe about 30 seconds or I'll say 30 seconds, we'll see. Probably going to be a bit more than that, actually. I say that, it's probably going to be a bit more than that. No. Okay, so I think we've got him into his final phase. It's coming up. So what's going to happen now is he's going to go this orange colour, and what we ought to do is just shoot the living crap out of his chest. After a certain point, he becomes invincible, but you want to try and get him in 2 cycles. If you can get him in 2, then that's always a good sign. Obviously, the faster you do it. Also, they say don't look into the light. And okay, it's probably going to be a 3 cycle, this one. I don't think it was. I was nowhere near with a 2 cycle, I don't think. Okay, and time. There we go.
GG.
We always have this nice little cutscene at the end, which I can't skip, unfortunately. But that's the House of Dead 3. Like I said, it was on very easy, so this is obviously the easiest difficulty you can get. But to kind of put it bluntly, in the House of Dead universe, you have the first two, then you have the fourth one, then Overkill, I believe it is, then the third one. This one's set way after the other House of Dead. But why the story has to go back and stuff, I don't know. Also, you're not my father, he says, and then proceeds to kill him by blowing him up. What a nice son. But there is actually several different endings I should mention, so depending on how you perform in the stages, how your score is at the start, you don't actually find out your score at the start or on the last stage. So you have to hope that your shooting was good enough. And the only way you actually know about this is once you get to the end of the game, obviously you'll have your own, you'll have your own ending, whichever one it is. I think there's only 4 endings. Like I said, I'm going to let this play out because of the fact that I need to kind of see the in-game time at the end, because that is actually what matters for this run, not RTA. But I'll just quickly mention, hopefully everyone's enjoyed themselves with the 2 runs I've done, and yeah, I'd feel free to give both of them a try and, have a crack at them yourself. I'm pretty sure you'll like them. Because you never know, there might be something that you might pick up. If you're into horror games, definitely pick this up. I mean, don't pick it up for the story of the voice acting, but, why not? Also, what ending did I get? That sounds like the good ending. the best one.
Hey, Dad.
So
That was a fantastic run.
Lisa's cars just drove off, so that means I got the good ending. I just like to play out because I like this. I like this ending, it's really good. She's like asking Daniel, it's like, what the hell's going on? Turns out Zombie Earl has nicked her car. Uh-oh. And she's running after him.
You slimy bastards! Say your prayers.
And then she runs after it, and that's the end. But yeah, like I said, you get several different endings. You either get a good ending, a bad ending. They'll be like Daniel could turn into a zombie, I think is one of them. And the end time was a 20:52, which isn't my best run, but I'll take it. It's a run that I haven't done for a while. Also, you get a rank depending on how well you've done. We got an SS, which is a good one. And obviously, all I've now got to do is just put in my initials as you would at the end of anything, and obviously make sure I save my progress, which I will do. There we go. And that kind of rounds things off. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed House of Dead 3. Like I said, feel free to give the first 3 games a try. You can get hold of them on PC. I believe House of Dead Overkill and House of Dead 4 are only available on... So the House of Dead 4 is a bit hard to get hold of. It's only available on what's it called, PlayStation 3, or if you can get a hold of an arcade emulator or something, then obviously you'll obviously have that. And there's that bit. House of Dead Overkill has, I think it's a PS3 release, a Wii release. I think it was on the 360. I'm not sure though. Don't quote me on that. It also is worth noting that the House of Dead 3 also got a spin-off series. Basically, the games were exactly the same, except you had to type words to kill zombies. I don't know how that works, but go figure, I guess. So there was a spin-off series called The Typing of the Dead. For those that are interested, they are very, very fun games. If you're into typing, I'm pretty sure Mavis Beacon, for those that may get that reference, I'm pretty sure she'll be very annoyed. But yeah, I think we'll call that a day there. And I'll just pass it back over to Tim. Also, just quickly mention as well, thank you again for having me this marathon. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Viper. We do have a couple of quick minutes just for a few questions here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I would like to, first of all, thank you for your amazing runs. As always entertaining. For those who've not seen you before, enlighten the audience as to what sorts of games you generally run as a rule.
Yeah, sure. So, for those that don't know me or have never seen me before, I'm quite a big car fanatic, racing game fanatic at heart. So GT Pro Series is more my sort of niche than it is with the House of the Dead, as you might imagine. But yeah, I play racing games, old and new. I'm more lenient on older games, so around late 90s to late 2000s, give or take a couple of years. But like most of the games that I play, rallying games and general racing. So, for example, the one series that I'm most notable for, or known for running the most, is the Colin McRae Rally franchise. It's now called the Dirt franchise. So if you know what Dirt is, Dirt's Rally 2.0 and so on, it's that series, but what it was originally called before they made it into the Dirt series. I also run a few obstacle games as well, like London Racer 2 and stuff like that. There is a few genuine racing titles on my list as well, of Gran Turismo and Forza. But I also run another series as well, although it's not primary, but another series that some people may know me for running is the Driver series. That is very difficult with police and stuff like that, but it's driving, it's in my blood. I do quite like it. And yeah, hopefully that kind of gives people a bit of an idea of what sort of runner I am at heart.
Fantastic. I've never actually asked you this question before, I don't believe, but can you tell me what got you into speedrunning? What was the first game that you actually run, and how did you get into it?
To kind of put it bluntly, I remember watching when I was, I think, God, we're talking a good 9 or 10 years ago, maybe. I was still in high school at the time, or secondary school, if you're in England, I guess. And I remember watching a couple of different runners play, like Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, GTA Vice City in particular. And then one day I remember looking at the Simpsons set and run and thinking, is there a leaderboard for this? And I was like, what's speedrunning like? How does it work? And so on. So I decided just to do like what any person will probably do as a first run, which was just to get a timer. Luckily, I knew the Simpsons set and run. I didn't know it inside and out, but I knew that there was 7 levels on it. I was like, yeah, okay, I played this game before. Let's just play it through casually and have a timer. I'll try and play it a bit quicker than normal. And I started to play it a bit more faster and faster. And I think speedrunning from there on just kind of picked up. Now, bear in mind, this was like 2014 when I picked it up properly. When I really got into speedrunning, though, was in 2015, at the very end of 2015. Or maybe it was 2016, I can't remember. Maybe 2015 or 2016, around there. One of those 2 years. But around then, that was when I started to pick up the game. And the first one, like the first game that I ever did a speedrun of was The Simpsons Hit and Run. I still do runs on console. I don't do PC runs very often. I do have a PC run to my name, but that's beside the point. But then, obviously, Colin McRae Rally was more my niche, so I started doing runs of that. And then everything since has kind of just been very much games that I played as a kid. I've obviously been playing a lot of different games in the last 2-3 years. So I have many different runs for many different games, but a lot of it is primarily racing. I won't lie, it's all primarily racing. But yeah, it's a case of watching some runners, like I can name 2 or 3 of them. So there was a guy called Joshimas, who's still around, Adam AK, and I also believe there was a guy, who was it? I think it was a guy called Demonan, or something like that. I do apologise if I butchered his name. But he was the guy that ran The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and that was the guy I was always watching. I thought it was really cool to see that game be done very fast, and I played that game I did quite like it at the time. But yeah, it's just, the more you know, I guess.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Viper. That was absolutely fascinating. Thank you. I didn't realise that Simpsons Hit and Run was your first game, but anyway, thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we are going to have to move on here. But I hope everybody has enjoyed the runs with Viper here. And thank you very much indeed, my friend. It was fantastic to be with you as always. And we will be back very shortly, folks. Remember, you are watching Horrible Games, Winter Wasteland, supporting the Heartland Animal Shelter. And we will be back with the next run very shortly, which is going to be a Niddle running Corrie in the house. So please take care. Just stay with us, and we'll be right back after this intermission. And thank you very much again, Viper.